In today's video, I'm going over my January 2026 budget, and I will also be updating everyone on my annual 2026 budget as well. Hello, welcome and welcome back. I'm Aja. I retired 3 years ago from teaching, and I relocated from New Jersey to the more affordable Delaware in order to be able to live off of my pension. So it's really important, since my pension is my main source of income. It's really important for me to keep a very tight budget and to keep very close track of my bills, my expenses, my spending and saving, and hopefully very soon investing as well. So here is my budget for the month of January. I have a carryover from December of $349.64 and my pension as far as income. And then I have this miscellaneous here. So the carryover, I know the last time I went over my budget, I was talking about how it failed. My November and December budgets failed, and that is true, they did. But this carryover, most of that is money that I brought over from my high yield savings account for things I had budgeted for the holidays. So I had budgeted for gifts that I bought. I budgeted for a plane ticket that I had to buy for a wedding, a destination wedding that will be later this year, but I had to buy the tickets now, so I could get a good price. And something else I'm not remembering now. I brought this over for, like extra holiday spending, like $100 for transportation. Um, so that's left over because the plane ticket wound up being much less than what I thought it would be and that I had budgeted for. So I've decided that I will use some of the additional money or the extra money to pay for parking, to park my car. And yes, the rest of it will be used to cover some of my expenses because I did go over budget in both November and December to the point where I will have to use some of the money that I would have wanted to put toward my emergency fund. I'll have to use some of that just to get by until I can finally catch up. And as far as the 106, part of that was money that my kid reimbursed me for gas and tolls during the holidays because we went halvesies on everything. And part of it is money that was left over from something else in my Venmo account. So when I was getting the money from my kid out of Venmo, I happened to see some money that was in Venmo that didn't even know about. So I brought it over into my regular bank account, and I'm counting that as part of the income for January. Now, as far as my expenses, these are all of my expenses for this month so far. Now, I mentioned in the previous video, that I met with a credit counselor, a certified credit counselor, and I told you some of his recommendations. Well, the first thing he said was that I should put my income and expenses side by side when I'm doing my budget so that I can better see what I'm working with. And that's why I have it this way. And he also said that I don't need to make um, budgets per se for things like my allowance, basically. And so I count my allowances as groceries, gas, maintenance, incidentals, eating out, spending. Those are things that I had previously given myself an allowance for. And he said that I don't necessarily have to be so strict about that. What I should do instead is make sure all of my bills are paid, all of the plans that I've made for savings and extra payments on things, make sure all of that's taken care of first, and then deal with whatever's left over from that and decide how to spend it. Now, in some senses, that might mean that I will spend more than I would have normally spent according to the allowance that I had given. But in a lot of cases for me, it will mean that I'll be spending less because, again, I realize that these are variable expenses and they're on this list of things that I pay each month. These are the things that I can change the most or that I can control the most. So I can always just rough it and just go through my freezer and pantry and just spend less on groceries. And as far as gas, that's a little less easy to control, but I can not travel as much if need be. I would definitely cut on groceries before I would cut on gas. Incidentals, eating out, those kind of things, they vary from month to month and they can be controlled. They can be put off for other times if need be. So I do have some incidentals here. Those involved, again, the plane tickets, and let me see, because on the next page here is transactions. And this is one list now that I have that will feed into the monthly overview that I just showed you. And so all of my incidentals were all added onto this one line here on the here. They're all added onto this one line. No matter how many I put on this list, they'll all get put together. And so let's see, incidentals. Here's one. One incidental was the HOA fee. And then if I scroll down more, you can see the wedding gift. Oh, and the parking. So the plane ticket I didn't put on there. All right, because I have to pay the parking this month and the plane ticket I already paid last month. Right. Okay. So that's good. That makes a lot of sense. So some new things for 2026. First of all, if we look over here, this is my budget blueprint. And it is just basically a static list of all of the expected monthly bills, the fixed expenses like bills, and the variable expenses like my utilities, and again the anticipated or the average um, variable expenses. But what I added on here is a snowball payment to the student loan. So in addition to my regular student loan payment here, I will be making a $25 payment each month, and that is to help bring that loan balance down. And once that's paid off, I will put everything. So this 88.58 plus 25 will go toward my mortgage. Another thing that's different is that I already had the annual expense fund. I've already, had that set up in place. So this is for my 2027 annual expenses. Things like, for example, HOA fees, taxes, car registration, my PBS subscription, gutters and tree maintenance. So in addition to the annual expense fund, I'll be saving a holiday fund, $15 per month, so that by the end of the year, I'll have at least $180 put toward Thanksgiving and Christmas, because, that was the problem, that why my November and December budgets failed, because I just didn't take those into consideration. And then I am also going to add a little bit each month to my emergency fund, $10. I am hoping to fund that fully through my seasonal work this year, though. But just in case, and just to be in good practice, I will put that toward the emergency fund. And once the emergency fund is paid off, which should be around May, then I can put this $10 toward investments. Another thing that's different is the pension amount. It is lower due to increases in my health insurance. I'm still not exactly sure what those increases are. I need to look it up. Maybe they have finally posted it, because for the longest time it's just been the old fee, but that is going up a little bit. And so I'm anticipating that my pension will be close to this amount. I have estimated the highest possible. Um, I have estimated based on the highest possible increase. So it might be this amount or lower. In addition, my mortgage has gone up, which I've also discussed in previous videos, and I think this is the right amount. For January 1st, I was charged the old amount, which was less than this. Oh, wait, no, it's the other way around. My pension for January 1st was the old amount. I forgot that I get paid my pension for the previous month. So my January pension statement is from December. And so that pension amount was still the old amount. And I'll see February 1st what my actual January pension amount is. I took Ring off of my fixed expenses. That was supposed to be $19.99 a month. Well, I paid it in full back in December, so I don't have to worry about that. And that brought my balance up to 26 when before it was $6. Everything else here is pretty much the same. I base these amounts on the averages from tracking a whole year of my utilities. So those are just averages. Um, the groceries I kept the same. Car gas and maintenance I increased a little bit from last year. The incidentals, eating out and spending, are a total of 100 here. The last time I talked about this, I had increased that by $50, but now I have taken that $50 and instead broken it up between the extra to the student loans, the holiday fund, and the emergency fund. And like I said, I'm not really putting this on my monthly budget, any of these anymore. I will just base what I spend on them on what's left over after I pay my bills. And so for this month, there's not much left over. As you can see here, the balance is 228 and 61 cents, which is why I have not been to the grocery store in 2026 yet. I have not gone anywhere or done any kind of spending except for one thing, and that is here, this spending right here. If we look at the line item for that. So now I have entered the YouTube partnership program, which means that I have over 500 subscribers. Yay, thank you. It's because of you. It also opens up some opportunities for me to make some money now. And so one of the things I can do is open up my own virtual store. And so I have done that, and I bought a couple of samples of the products just to see what they're like. So I will show them in another video once they arrive. And if you're interested, if you have a retiree who is having a party, maybe you might be interested in some of the items. There are mugs and shirts and hats and even a candle that say retired, inspired, and thriving. But yeah, no pressure or anything, but I'm just saying if you're in the market for a retiree gift, or you want to treat yourself to something really nice to celebrate your retirement, my store is on my channel. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming. This is nice because these graphs give me a visual and really show me where all my money is coming from and where it's going. And then this gives me a quick summary of my cash flow. So, pretty much breaking even with the pension, but it's okay. I mean, it's not really breaking even when you think about that. All of this is left over from paying bills. This is all savings. And even this is an extra payment. These are things I don't necessarily have to do. This is really what's left over each month. And talking with that credit counselor helped me to see that, because I kept looking at this number and saying, oh, my balance is so low. I think I already have plans with what to do with this money. The wedding is coming up. The destination wedding is coming up. I'm going to need a dress for that, and maybe a little bit of extra spending money. So I'll probably create another fund down here where I take that $26 or like $25 and add it to another $25 from this area, and save $50 between now and that wedding. So I'll have a good amount of money for wedding expenses. Let's head over to where I'm now keeping track of these funds. So a little bit inspired by my cash stuffer friends, I created these fun little sheets. So I'm like doing it's kind of like virtual cash stuffing in a way, not really, but just for fun. So this battery actually charges once the goal is achieved. So last year, I created a 2026 expense fund. So this money is already in the bank, and it's all ready to go for all of my annual expenses. And the first payment out of it was my HOA fee. And all of these are the other fees I mentioned, like, for example, the Google One storage annual charge. One of these is for the car registration. I'm not going to go through all of them, but all of the things involved with payments I have to do annually. A lot of it's involving the house, maintenance. And then, so I've listed all those things here to get an idea of what they will be, and to get an idea of what money I will have left over, just in case there are things that I'm not thinking about, because this is my first time owning a home where I'm responsible for the outside. So especially outside maintenance, I'm not really sure yet all of the things that I need to do. And then, sometimes there are also unexpected things. This is not really an emergency fund. It's designed to be an expense fund. It's designed for annual bills that we sometimes forget. Like that car registration kind of snuck up on me last year. So that's what this fund is for. And I've been reading this book. So it's called Moving Beyond Broke: The Power of Perseverance in Personal Finance by Dasha Kennedy. And she has this section where she talks about not forgetting to factor in your annual expenses, for this exact reason, that they sneak up on us, and they can ruin your budget, because it could be hundreds of dollars. It could be a significant amount of money, and then you're dipping into other things that you had designated for something else. So I really like this. Her section that I'm really liking right now is Let's Build Your Budget Blueprint. And that is what inspired me to rename this tab Budget Blueprint, my budget blueprint, because this is a realistic idea of what I will spend this year, based on what all the tracking that I did last year, which is what she recommends you do. You write everything down. Or another suggestion she made that I thought was very interesting, never thought of before, is you can get all of your bank statements, look at those, and look at all the spending that you did. And that's exactly how I came up with my 2026 expenses, by going back at all of that tracking I did each month. And I would see, oh yeah, in this month I paid this, and in this month that came up. And that's how I organized that better. I have another sheet here for my 2027 expense fund schedule. And I had added some extra things. I didn't actually pay my February one yet. I just added that for the tour that I'm going to do later, to show how my budget sheet works. But I have already put 266.67 in my high yield savings account toward my 2027 expense fund schedule. And you see how the battery is starting to get charged. I have another one for the emergency fund. So previously, my goal for my emergency fund was to save 6,000 by May. Now that goal has changed. I would like to up it to 7,000 based on the talk that I had with my certified credit counselor. He recommended between 7,000 and I think he said 12,000 should be my emergency fund. So I figure I'll go with that. I was close with my 6,000. And you see my tortoise is winning and I'm almost there. My current balance is this amount. And that's partially due to a gift that I received, a monetary gift I received for the holidays that helped up my balance a bit. I put all of that toward my emergency fund. And as you can see here, the $10 that's already been sent from my monthly budget is already here. And the holiday funds, I'm trying to fill this teddy bear's heart. And so $15 is already in my high yield savings account toward my holiday fund schedule. All right. So if you were only here to see my January budget and my 2026 updates, thank you for joining me. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe and share this video with anyone else who might find it useful. And comment below to let me know how your budgeting is going. But if you plan to stay to see the tour of my new DIY budget calculator, it's starting now. If you remember the previous calculator I made, it worked, but it was such a mess. I mean, everything was just all over the place. It was not things weren't lined up neatly like this is. And so I started searching for a solution and I tried a few spreadsheets out that I found online and they just were not working for me because I like my calculator to be very personalized. I want it to do exactly what I want it to do. Like with these sheets here, these schedule sheets. I wanted that, and there was nothing like that anywhere. So I was able to make that on my own. I found a tutorial online, and it was perfect because it's what helped me to line everything up beautifully like this. Um, it got me started with this. It helped me to create the transaction sheet which feeds into all of the other sheets. So whatever I enter here goes on my monthly overview sheet and goes on those other fund sheets as well. And the great thing about the transaction sheet is I can delete, once February comes, I can not delete, but I can hide all of the January expenses. Anything that I did in January, I can hide it. And then it feels like a new sheet where I just have February spending. Then I can come over here and change from January to February. And I can see what my February is looking like. And I can always go back and look at January at any time. And so right now, if I go to March, you see there's nothing there yet. Because like I said earlier, I just added some things to February just to show how you can do it. And so to get my January back, I'll do that. And while I'm here, I'm just going to delete these extra line items so I don't get confused when February actually comes around. And let's see, I'll copy these because there are special formulas in here. So there are special formulas in this column so that when okay, let's say I add the date. I decide whether what I'm putting is income or expense. And then I can put what type of income it is. Let's say it's miscellaneous income because it's like I won the lottery, I won $100. Then I can delete the formula out of the cell and then type in $100. But let's say that the income is something regular that I always get, like my pension. The formula in the cell will automatically put that amount in. So for all of my fixed expenses, I have this cell program to come up automatically. It will save me so much time. I won't have to look things up anymore. Like I wouldn't even have to go to my budget blueprint and look up the prices like I would have used to have to do. The tutorial, again, it showed me how to do the transactions sheet, the monthly overview sheet, and the setup data sheets. So this is just what helps to organize what's going on in my drop down menus. That's what this sheet is for. So this sheet organizes what's happening on my monthly overview. So you see it mirrors there. It helps to create these two lists. All right, so I just love that I can enter all my transactions on one sheet, because before I was um, just making sheets for every month. I was making a sheet where I kept track of my spending for that month. And I was also making a monthly overview sheet for every month. I was using a template, copying it, and then I had to copy formulas and update this and update that. I don't have to do any of that anymore. All I need to do is enter everything on my transaction sheet. There are 2,000 rows on this sheet, so I will not run out for the year. Um, so yes, that's where the tutorial ended. Then I went in because I'm a programmer. I know how to use formulas and everything, and so I went in and made my own custom design. I changed the colors to what colors I wanted, so I have variations of purple throughout. But that means that if it's highlighted in purple, that means that it's a variable amount. I did that. I put in these formulas that I talked about before that will automatically enter the fixed amounts. I created the annual. I still want to create an annual averages sheet, and I want to create a savings and investment sheet. So that's in the works. But I created the budget blueprint, and I also put these alternating colors on each row and column throughout. So like here, I did that as well. Did I do it on transactions too? Yep. Yeah, pretty much any grid that's on here, I added the colors. The tutorial showed how to do the graphs, but I made mine custom the way I like. Like I made them 3-dimensional and everything and chose the colors that I wanted. And I totally brainstormed these little fund schedules. But so the 2026 one is done. 2027, we're getting there, right? So let me just show you what will happen once this battery is full. The amount is $3,200. We already have 266 and change in it. When I add a line item in transactions, I'll just put the whole amount in. We'll have extra in there. I'm going to put it as a February payment. I can type it too. I don't have to look through the list. So that is the expense fund. I'm going to change it to the entire amount. Well, I could just put 3,000 and that would be more than enough. Let's see what happens to my 2027 expense fund. Now the battery's full. And I got my special message, goal achieved, yay. Here's the emergency fund. The goal is 7,000. So if I put 3,000 in, a line item of 3,000, let's see what happens. Go back to my transactions. I'll make it today's date and we'll see what happens, because right now there's $10 in for January. Let's see what happens if I make another payment in January. And now the tortoise has won the race. Goal achieved. Yay. Let's see what happens when I complete my holiday fund of $180. Let's do 165. That should bring us to the full balance. And the heart is full. Goal achieved. Yay. Well, I hope you have enjoyed, in addition to the January 2026 budget update, this overview of my brand new and improved DIY budget calculator tool. How do you manage your budget? Are you more of a pencil and paper person? I know some people prefer that. Are you a cash stuffer, or do you keep track digitally like me? Tell me below. I would love for you to share. Again, thank you for joining me today. Until next time, stay inspired and keep thriving.